Hello, I am David Sasso, and this is my explanation on how I did project number 3 from the OpenCV Applications course. So, this is the notebook that I use. Actually, I downloaded this notebook from the course resources, and I just started following this task that we have here. So, I started to save in the copy, update the wget command, download the new data. I make some changes, so I'm going to just describe what changes I made here, cell by cell, and I am going to try to be not to take too much time. So at first I started to run cell by cell. Right now it's not running because I downloaded the notebook after the training. So this is just for explanation purposes. So I started by importing these libraries. I had no trouble with any cell. Sometimes, as you know, with Colab you can have some troubles by importing things, but I did not have any problem with this. And I started by updating this link over here. That is the Dropbox link that is mentioned above on the description from the problem. Then I unzipped this, and I tried at first to set my first change, that it was to change the batch size from 64. It was the original, and I tried to change to 32. The first training that I made, it did not work so well. So the next time I train, my second attempt to train this, I just set over. I set again to 64. Okay, so that's why I have this change over here. But it was my first attempt, so I got successfully trained by my second attempt. I did not change the seed, and I just changed the dataset path because at the moment that I download the dataset with the wget command, I don't have any chest X array folder, so I just use the new dataset folder. Okay, then I started to run this another cell that is to generate, or to create the image generator from validation and test images, and I really did not make any change here. I just leave it as it is. On the next cell, that is for actually getting the images from the directory. When I tried to change the the images from this directory, I I was not sure if I should modify this categorical class mode, but I realized that it's correct because it's a classification problem. So it is right to be on the class mode categorical. Then I just loaded the pre-trained model. I did not change the model that it was on this notebook at the beginning. I used the same ImageNet, and I did not change anything from here. Then I printed the summary just to see the layers from this model, the architecture. And at the next cell, I did make some changes. And the first change it was that on the requirements, I was asked to add dense layers, or at least one dense layer, at the end of the architecture. As you can see, the last layer is global max polling 2D, and here the notebook was trying to add a one dense layer with two neurons, and it's for a binary classification problem, as is described here. But I made the correction because it is not a binary classification problem. There are three classes, so I update to multi-class classification problem with three neurons on this layer. So I just copy and paste this same line, and I use the number 3. Okay, and activation function, I leave it as it is, as softmax. Then the model is created, and with the optimizer, I saw that when the notebook was compiling, I see that the loss function, it was set to binary cross entropy, and that is for a binary classification problem. and that's why I commented this code and I copy paste here with the change that the loss function is categorical, not binary. Okay, that's another change that I made. And next step, it was just running the model. I leave the same file name that we have here, and I print the model summary, and we can see, or I could see this change at the end of the architecture. Before this change, the last layer, it was the global max polling 2D, and as well as we add this dense layer with 3 neurons, so we have this another extra layer that we added. Then I trained the model, and as I said, my first attempt, I tried to train for 5 epochs. In the notebook, originally it said 3 epochs, so I think that's a very low amount of epochs, so I changed to 5 just to try, and I got no good results at the first, so then I changed for 200 epochs, and it worked not as good as I wanted, but the performance or the accuracy got a little bit higher. So as you can see, accuracy at the end, it was about 77%. Then after this, I did not make any other change. I just continued to plotting these graphics, so we can see that the loss is going to tends to go lower from the first epoch to the last epoch, so that's a good thing. And the accuracy related to the number of epochs, it tends to get higher, okay, from the first epoch to the last epoch. Okay, that's a good sign too. And I try to get the confusion matrix. So what I can see here is that the predictor label number 0 and the true label, with all the validation and training process, it's a good sign that I have 363 cases that when I expected the number 0 or the predictor label 0, I found, or the model found, the same label as well. But in some cases, 110 times, it detected a 0 and it was the true label a 1. So this not so intense squares over here, the 110, 28, 32, 38, 111, that are the cases where the model was kind of confusing itself. Okay, but that's a good sign that we have pretty higher intensity on these 3, because these 3 are the cases when the true label was 0 and the predictor label was 0 as well, and the same case for the true label 1 and the same for the true label number 2. Okay, that's are my comments. Thank you.